Hey everybody, this is Rosh and you are watching FM9 Basics. This is a YouTube tutorial series that I'm putting up on YouTube to help new and experienced users program all their Fractal products, including the FM3, the XFX3, and in this case, the FM9. A little about myself. Once again, my name is Rosh and I build and program guitar rigs, both here in Los Angeles as well as online. Some of my clients include Steve Vai, Leppard, Melissa Etheridge, Perfect Circle, Bush, and more. And I wanted to get back to the Fractal community and show some tips and tricks on how to program all the Fractal products. I program a lot of different modelers, not only the Fractal products, but as well as the Helix, Quad Cortex, etc. If you guys would need any help programming any of your units, there is a link below in the description where you can get in touch with me and we can book a one-on-one session to help you get the most functionality out of your modeler. So, if you've been watching this YouTube series, I've been putting together recently a bunch of presets, and these are called gig-ready presets. And my main goal was that if you're a new user, this is for somebody who just got their hands on an FM9, and I will be the first to admit that there's a lot of options. Some of the options can, the amount of possibilities can be overwhelming at first, especially if you're just looking for a simple preset that's going to cover a wide variety of sounds. Maybe you're in a cover band, maybe you play at your local church, maybe you just are trying to find a way to just practice at home and you don't want to scroll through a million different presets to find the right sound for you. These are the presets that I think are going to be great for new users. And again, these are the presets that you can load into your FM9 today, take them on a gig tonight, and it covers a wide variety of sounds. And again, one of the most difficult things about any modeler is that every guitar player plays completely differently. We all use different guitars. We all play different styles of music. And I wanted to put together a bunch of different presets that are going to kind of cover a wide variety of styles, cover a wide variety of different guitars that you may be using, etc. And again, I never want finances to be a constraint for any new users. So I'm going to go through all my settings in this preset. And if you do want a shortcut, if you've gotten a lot of value out of my channel and you want to support the channel, you can just buy this preset. I think the price is pretty fair. But again, all the settings are already going to be in this YouTube video, so you can build this preset from scratch if you want and just follow along on all the settings that I show you. And I'm going to kind of talk about my philosophy and kind of my approach to building presets. So this preset is going to be a channel switching preset, and what we are going to be doing is we are going to be using the Deluxe reverb as our clean channel, and then we're going to be using the Friedman BE100 as our dirty channel. And the reason why I chose these two amps in particular is because they're really easy to dial in. I think again for new users, there's a lot of amp options in all the Fractal products, and sometimes it may be a little difficult to choose a good amp, especially since the real world counterparts may have. You may need to set the knobs in a counterintuitive way. So these two amps are really good for beginners or people who just want a simple amp. As you can see with the Friedman, most of the knobs are basically at noon. When you load this amp up, you can just kind of put everything at noon and it's going to sound really great. So let's go over the amp tones. And again, I'm using a Strat for this preset. You can check out some of my other YouTube videos where I go through different styles of music, different amplifier choices, as well as different guitars. So in this case, this is Strat, and this is my main Strat. It's a HSS Strat, so 2 single coils and a humbucker and a bridge. So let's just go over all the sounds here. So here's my neck pickup, and for the time being, I'm just going to leave the tone knob wide open. I know a lot of users just prefer to have their guitars that way, but I will say that you can get a lot of mileage out of your instrument by manipulating the volume and tone knob. So let's just go through a quick tonal kind of run through of this. So here's the clean channel with all 5 pickup positions. So here is the neck pickup. And then here is, I guess they would call that position 2. So this is the neck and middle. Here is the middle pickup. And then here is the bridge and middle. And then here's the bridge pickup. Okay, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to switch to channel B, and then let's just go over the dirty sounds again, going back to the neck pickup. And again, I really do love the Friedman amps because one cool thing about them is they clean up really well. So if I take my volume knob and just roll it about halfway, you can get a really convincing clean sound. So you can do all kinds of real great tonal variety just by manipulating your volume knob. And if you roll off the tone knob, it's going to take off that top end sting that single coil pickups usually have. Okay, so here is the neck and middle pickup. Middle pickup. And then here is the middle and bridge. So again, really, really great with a volume knob to clean up your tone. And then here is the bridge pickup. And again, it's a humbucker. And again, you know, the main thing that I was going for was a lot of versatility in this preset. So between these two channels on the amp, this is going to function basically like a channel switching amp. So your favorite channel switching amp that has a clean and dirty channel. And later on in this video, I'm going to address how to switch the channels and everything like that. But you can see you'll have a button here to switch between amp channel A and amp channel B. So again, I wanted to have a preset that I could just take out to a cover gig and just cover a wide variety of sounds, anything from, a super clean sound to a high gain sound. And you can, of course, always adjust these presets. So if this is too much gain for you or not enough gain, it's really easy to just add more or subtract. And you can, of course, change any of the settings. And again, later on in this video, I'll show you how to change them on the actual unit itself. So you don't need to bring a computer to the gig or sound check. You can just edit on the fly as you wish. So let's go back to the clean channel and let's just go over this signal path. So in here, you'll see that this is just like the input block, and then there's a little bit of gating. And again, if you play a single coil guitar, you know that, pickups can be really noisy. So a little bit of gating goes a long way. And next up, this is going to be a compressor block. And I am of the mindset that I do copy a lot of my favorite players, such as Andy Timmons, Andy Wood. And what they like to do is they use a compressor to kind of boost the front end of an amp. And the other advantage of using a compressor early in the signal path for single coil pickups is that it keeps the volume relatively consistent between all your pickup choices. So if I took the compressor off and just bypass it for a second, you can hear that there's a big tonal difference between, let's say, the neck pickup and the middle, and then the bridge pickup. So you can hear that like the volume is much wider. There's a much bigger difference in volume between those two pickup selections, whereas the compressor kind of evens things out a little bit. So here's that same pickup. So neck and middle, and then here's the bridge. So, that's always one of the things that I personally struggle with every time I'm playing a Strat. There's always, you're switching pickups, you like the sound of it, but you're always having to go up and down in volume to kind of even out. So compressor really helps with that. And you can see that on the output, there's a little bit of a boost coming from the compressor, and that's just going to hit the drive pedals as well as the amp a little bit harder for your single coil. So just, gives it a little bit of a bolder sound. So here's the neck pickup with the compressor off. And then here's with it on. So you see, it just makes the neck pickup a little bit bolder, and just gives it a little bit more, it just a little bit more body to those pickups. And again, especially if you're playing in a quieter setting, maybe you're playing just direct on in-ears or something, it does make the playing a little bit easier because it gives a little bit of a softer, squishier attack when you play. Okay, next up, we have the volume block. And if you've been watching my other videos, the reason why I leave all the space here is that there are a lot of different places that you can place the volume block, and a lot of users do a wide variety of things. So if you're coming from the amp and pedal board world, 9 times out of 10, you're probably putting a volume pedal and it's going to be right in front of your amp. So of course, if you do have the volume pedal in front of your drives and your amps, it will clean up a dirty channel, for example. So here's the dirty channel of the Friedman. And you can see that if I roll back the volume pedal to about halfway, it's going to kind of clean up the amp a little bit. So this is about the same kind of behavior, similar behavior if you rolled off the volume knob on your guitar to clean up an amp. Some users are really used to that. They really like that behavior. And again, you can just leave the block here. So if you want a situation where you don't want to clean up your drive pedal, so again, because the volume block is before these drives, you'll also exhibit the same behavior with the drive block. So here's the clean channel. Here is one of the drives. And again, here it is with the volume all the way up. And you can see that the volume pedal is all the way up. But if I roll it back to about halfway, it's going to start cleaning up that drive block. So again, some users are used to this behavior. They like that behavior and others don't want it. So of course, you can move this volume block wherever you wish. So you can also just click and drag the volume block to here. So it comes after your drive blocks in the signal path, but before the amp. So it won't clean up your drive blocks, but it will clean up the amp. So again, if you're used to a pedal board where you put the volume pedal last in the signal path, this is basically the same thing. But if you want absolute volume control without affecting the gain of any of the pedals, any of the drive pedals or the amp, I would recommend putting the volume pedal here. And this allows you to have volume swells because they come before all the time-based effects, which I will address later in this video. So again, if we switch to the dirty channel of the amp, and now that the volume block is here, you'll notice that, of course, again, with the dirty channel all the way up. Now, if I go back to halfway, again, I'm not manipulating the volume knob on my guitar. All I'm doing is reducing the volume without reducing the gain of the amp. So again, some users want that behavior, and I can't predict what every user is going to want, so this gives you the option. For now, I'm going to leave the volume block here, but of course, you can always drag it past the amp block and place it in this position and hit save to save the preset so that the volume pedal is in that way. One last thing about the volume pedal is if you hold down Control if you're on a Mac and you click on it, or you right-click on it if you're on a PC, you'll notice that the volume pedal is in pedal 2 on the FM9. So what you need to do is make sure that your expression pedal is in PDL2 on the back of the FM9, and make sure you're using a TRS cable so that the expression function works correctly. So again, pedal 2 is going to control the volume block. Moving on, we're going to be having the wah block now. And the wah block is, again, going to be controlled with pedal 1. So if you're using an expression pedal, use PDL1, which is right below the headphone jack on the FM9. So this is going to be using your other expression pedal to control the wah. And I have used the auto engage feature, and in this feature right here, it says PC reset, means that every time you load this patch, no matter what position your expression pedal's in, the patch will load with the wah off. So already programmed that in for you just to make it easy. And again, you don't need to use a click type switcher or click type expression pedals such as any of the Mission pedals. You can always just use any standard expression pedal, whether you use the Fractal EV series, EV1 or EV2. I personally use the Roland EV5 or the Akai pedals. And again, the only reason why is they're plastic. They already come with a TRS cable, and they're very, very light, and it makes it really easy for traveling and setup. But users may want something different. And again, the Mission pedals are also great, and they do feel and have the throw of a standard Dunlop Crybaby wah. So this is the Faz wah. I've made some adjustments here, especially the level, just so that it's not going to overdrive the amp as you turn it on. And again, because we're using the auto engage feature here, the pedal will turn on as you move it. So you can see that as I move it, the pedal turns on, and if I return it to the heel back, toe up position, the pedal turns off. So here's just kind of your standard wah sound. Again, good for funky, clean guitar. And of course, if you switch to the dirty channel and use the wah, you're going to go right into, rock and roll territory. So really great, very useful. So moving on, what we have here is a send and return block. This is just routing the signal down to the second row and also giving you plenty of room to add your own effects to this preset if you wish. If you've been following along with some of my other gig-ready presets, this is going to be the next section where I like to include a couple overdrive or boost pedals to kind of give you, again, more tonal variety. I play in a lot of, event bands, corporate, wedding bands, all kinds of things, and I always have to cover a wide variety of sounds spanning all decades. So I like to have overdrive pedals as well as a channel switching amp. Now, my philosophy for this particular preset, especially channel switching presets, is that the highest amount of gain that I'm going to have is coming from the amp, and then the pedals are just going to kind of cover the sounds that are in between clean and in between full rock and roll kind of dirty sound. So these two pedals, this pedal is going to be more of like your boost, kind of slightly overdriven, edge of breakup kind of sounds, and then this pedal is going to be more for your overdrive sounds. So if this is the first gig-ready preset video you've watching, I like to include 4 different versions of kind of a boost pedal or a fuzz pedal or an overdrive pedal. In this case, this is going to be kind of like your boost edge of breakup kind of thing. And 4 different versions is to, again, give you a lot of bang for your buck. And also just some users may find one of these other channels to be a little bit more their flavor. So let's just go over them now. So the channel A is going to be the clone Chiron. This is the infamous clone pedal. And again, we're going for kind of an edge of breakup thing. And then that's the bridge pickup. Now you'll notice that if I keep the tone knob wide open on this, is a pretty bright kind of overdrive / boost pedal. So if you do like that kind of quote unquote Texas sting, leave your tone knob wide open. But again, you can roll off your tone knob a little bit, and then you can have like a really great single coil kind of dirty sound or kind of crunch sound, edge of breakup. And again, responds really well to your volume knob. Okay, so again, all these different channels are going to be different flavors or different variations on this type of sound. So in the B channel, this is the Esoteric RCB. And again, this is based off of the Exotic Effects RC booster, same kind of vibe. And then if you prefer this over the clone, what you can do is, of course, select the proper channel, bypass the effect, and then you can hit save so that every time you turn on the effect in the clean boost button, it will turn on this drive with channel B active instead. So let's go over channel C. This is the tape distortion. Again, same similar flavor, kind of a clean boost kind of thing. Just a slight push for the amp. Again, some, if you need just a little bit more. I think it's great for that. And then last but not least, this is the FET preamp. And again, these are all into the clean amp. You can, of course, use these boosts into the front of a dirty amp to just kind of push it over the edge. So here is the dirty channel. And then here's the dirty channel with a boost on. So again, if that dirty channel, you just need to get into that kind of high gain territory, you can just turn one of these boosts and hit the front end of that amp. and then it's going to get you well into that high gain territory. So really, really versatile, really useful to have some type of boost pedal like that. And again, this is not a volume boost, but just a clean boost that to kind of push the front end of the amp. Later on in this preset, we will be using this filter block to boost the volume for your volume boost here, okay? And I'll address that in very shortly. Next up, we have the overdrive, and this is going to be kind of more of your standard overdriven sound. These are going to be kind of like your quote-unquote tube screamer-esque kind of pedals, overdrive pedals. So the first one is the Jan Ray. And again, most of these are kind of dialed in for, you know, again, just a little bit more of an overdrive thing, but of course you can roll off your volume knob, roll off your tone knob to make some tonal adjustments. Next up, we have channel B, which is going to be the BB preamp AT. This is the Andy Timmons BB preamp. So I really do like that one a lot. So again, it just is a different flavor. This is kind of more, I guess, the Marshall-y kind of overdrive. And then this one's kind of more your standard kind of like Fender, cranked Fender kind of overdrive. Versus this one. And again, you'll be able to adjust the gain levels as well as the volume levels on the unit itself. And again, I will address that shortly. Next up, in channel C, we have the Tube Screamer. And again, most pedal boards should have at least some type of Tube Screamer pedal. You can hear it really chops off that top end and chops off the low end, very mid-rangey. So yeah, a lot of different options there. And last but not least, the Esoteric ACB. This is the AC booster from Exotic Effects. So you can see just a lot of volume knob and tone knob manipulation. You can get a wide variety of sounds on this. I'll leave this in channel A for the time being. We've already kind of covered the amp block a little bit at the beginning of this video. Nothing too specific about this other than, of course, if you do want to clean up a clean amp, just turn the gain down. You don't need to think too hard about it. When you load any amp block, most of the default settings are the knobs are at 5. A Deluxe reverb with the volume at 5 would be extremely loud and also quite distorted if you use the real amp. So again, that's why this gain knob is set relatively low. So again, you can also watch this headroom parameter down here and you can see, you know, where the amp is going to start overdriving. So you see we're right underneath that. And of course, if you hit the front end of it with a pedal, you can see it's going to start losing some of that headroom. And then that's where the amp starts kind of breaking up a little bit. And again, in the Friedman itself, most of the knobs are set relatively close to noon. I did drop the bass a little bit as compared to my Les Paul preset because, you know, Strat has a little bit more low end to it. Whereas the Les Paul's just got a little bit more of that just mid-range. So again, every guitar is going to be different, and feel free to turn this bass up or down as needed. Next up, this whole section is going to be all your time-based effects. So first thing we have is a tremolo. And again, I've tied it to the tap tempo. So right above here, you're going to have a tap tempo and a tuner, just like the standard layout that the FM9 comes with. So here is the tremolo. And again, if you tap really slowly, now we're at 76 BPM, the tremolo will follow the tempo on that. So for the time being, I'm going to set this back to 130, the default Next up, we have the chorus. And again, same thing. It's the warble of the chorus is going to be tied to the tap tempo function. So this is kind of the Japan CE2, the Boss CE2 chorus ensemble kind of pedal. Again, just a pretty standard chorus sound. Okay. And again, tied to the tempo. Next up, we have the delay. This is the Deluxe Mind Guy delay. This is basically the Deluxe Memory Man, a pedal where the repeats kind of slightly go out of tune. Oops, sorry. Let me turn that on so you can hear each repeat is going to be slightly out of tune. So you can hear it kind of went up in pitch at the end. So again, it gives it kind of a cool chorusing effect as you play into the repeats. And again, if you switch the channels, now this can be, again, a type of delay that just doesn't get in the way if you're soloing or playing a rhythm part that's dirty. So really useful. And again, you can use that and of course adjust the feedback and mix to taste. Next up, we have just kind of an always-on reverb. I like the studio reverb. It's based off of a Lexicon reverb. This is just giving a little bit of air and depth to your sound, so it just doesn't feel like it's the super dry, sound. Gives it just a little bit of air. Puts it kind of in a small space, as they would say. Next up, this reverb is going to be the big reverb. And again, if you need kind of more of an ambient sound, I really do like the cloud style reverbs that are based off of the Strymon reverb. So this is the Nimbus Stratus reverb. And again, this just gives you a really nice ambient washy reverb. So of course, you can start turning on a lot of these effects. And then even using the volume pedal for volume swells. And you can see I'm swelling into these notes. So really useful for if you want to add some texture and ambience to your playing. So you can turn on all these effects just like a regular pedal board. Next up, we have this filter block. Now, this filter block is functioning as a volume boost. So all it's doing is taking whatever tone you're feeding it. So whether you have overdrive pedals on or off, any of these effects on or off, the filter block is just going to raise your volume by about 4 dB. I find somewhere between 2 and 4 dB is really useful for most players. So maybe you need to bump up your dirty channel for a lead sound, so you can have a solo that's going to be a little bit louder than your dirty channel. The filter block is going to be very useful for that. Maybe you just need a very specific part to poke out. Maybe you are just soloing with the clean channel. So here is the clean channel without the filter, and here it is with it on. As you can see, it's just a hair louder. And again, you can turn it on and off at will. And of course, if you need to adjust the level, if 4 dB is too loud for you, you can always just change this number. So somewhere between 2 and 4 dB is going to work for most users for, again, a slight volume boost. And the louder you play, the louder your band, the louder the project that you're in, the more you're going to want to reduce this level. So for most people, if they're playing in like a standard, kind of medium-sized venue, somewhere between 2 and 4 dB is great. Now, this section right here, next up, is going to be the cab block as well as the outputs. So the first thing is in this cab block, I'm using the Friedman GB. This is the Dynacab's Friedman Greenback speakers. I've kind of dialed it in a very specific way. If you watch some of my other YouTube tutorials, I go into a deep dive of how to use Dynacabs, but I found that these positions were really useful and they just sounded nice to my ears. If you need more low end, feel free to crank the treble. If it's too mid-rangey, just bring the level down of this dynamic mic because we have the ribbon and the dynamic. And again, this preset is in mono. Again, for most new users, you're not going to have to be concerned with stereo outputs and all that kind of stuff. So now the next thing is all these outputs. So again, I can't predict what type of amplification most users are going to be using. So this preset is trying to cover all the different bases. With the FM9, the output 1 and output 2 has XLR outputs. So you could have a lot of versatility in your setup. So for example, output 1 can go to your full range cabinet on stage. So if you use any of the Friedman ASC series, or if you use the Fender FR12 or FR10 series, or a full range speaker like a QSC or anything like that, you can use that for output 1. And then the cool thing is you can just turn up the output 1 knob up and down at will in the middle of a gig if you just need a little bit more volume on stage. And then the cool thing is output 2 can go directly to front of house. So if you're playing a medium-sized venue where there's going to be an actual sound guy and sound reinforcement, you can use output 2 to go directly to front of house. And then output 1, the knob is totally independent of that, so it won't affect what the signal going to output 2. So you get a lot of versatility that way. You can just turn yourself up and down without ever having to turn around to your amp. If you're using like a wedge style full range monitor, it can be kind of tricky to get to the back and turn up the volume sometimes. So again, the FM9 kind of covers a lot of that stuff. Output 1 is also useful because it's also going to feed the headphone jack. I have another video where I use the Ernie Ball instrument headphone cable, and that's a really effective way to get an in-ear setup really quickly with just one cable with the FM9. So again, these two outputs are here after the cab block because they have the cabinet simulation. Now, output 3 is shunted off before the cabinet block. And this for you users who are using something like a power amp. So if you have a Matrix GT series power amp and you're powering a guitar cabinet, a standard one, not a full range cabinet, then you can use output 3. So if you are using a Seymour Duncan power stage of, a Matrix GT series, if you're using, a tube power amp, like any of the Mesa Boogie things, or an LX3 or something like that, you can use output 3 to feed that power amp. And then the power amp is going to power a traditional guitar cabinet, whether it's a 112, 212, 412, whatever. And you can go out of output 3 and still simultaneously go direct to front of house or direct to an in-ear system or anything like that. So this preset has a lot of versatility already built in. All you have to do is just basically hook up the cables. Now, quick note, output 3, you need to make sure that you are going fully clockwise on output 3, and that's going to achieve unity gain signal, okay? So that's really important to gain stage properly. And then you're going to use your power amp, the volume knob on your power amp, to control the level of your stage volume. Okay, now before I move on to the next section, I also want to address that this preset is built in firmware 8.01. So as of this recording, there are newer firmwares, but again, some users haven't upgraded. I wanted to kind of keep all my presets somewhere around the same firmware. And again, so if you are using a firmware that is a lower number than this preset will not load correctly into your unit. So you need to use at least 8.01 firmware or later for this preset to load correctly into your unit. Okay, next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show what all this FC edit, all the foot switches are going to do. I'm going to transition to an overhead shot of the FM9, and you can see all the foot switches. And then also, we're going to address this performance page, which allows you to edit the amp on the fly without needing to, use a computer or anything like that. So you can make adjustments at soundcheck, right? You can make adjustments right in the middle of a gig, etc. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to just transition into an overhead shot and then go from there. All right, so now that we have an overhead shot, you can see that the FM9, when you load this preset, it's already going to have using these per preset overrides, you're going to have access to all your sounds as well as all the effects, all in the preset without having to change layouts or anything like that. So the first thing is whenever you boot up your FM9, it's always going to go into this particular screen right here. And then this is going to list off all the scenes that you have in this preset. Now, again, this preset is not using any type of scenes. It is all just basically one sound. with some channel switching and some effects that you could turn on and off at will. So again, I wanted a preset that's going to be like that. In the future, maybe I might consider using some scenes for some future presets. But so let's go over each of these. So down here in the bottom left, you can see that it says amp A or B. So of course, if amp A is going to be the clean sound, that's channel A. And if we hit this, now it's going to go into the dirty sound. And of course, you can switch back. So that's going to be kind of your channel switching right there. And again, the clean boost and the overdrive are right next to it. So you can add the clean boost or the overdrive or even stack them so they can both be turned on at the same time if you wish. And of course, you have your chorus, your delay, and your volume boost all the way down here at the bottom. The top is the big reverb. The tremolo is here in button number 9. And in between those two, you have the tap tempo. That's going to sync your time-based effects, including the delay, the chorus, as well as the tremolo. And if you hold down the tap tempo, it's going to turn on the tuner, as you see. And if you want to disengage that, you can just press it again. So again, tapping will adjust the tempo, but holding down the tap tempo button is going to turn on the tuner. Now, one of the most useful features of this preset and presets that I build for the gig-ready presets is going to be the performance pages. So as you can see, I'm leaving the output somewhere around noon. This is going to be user dependent. And of course, I covered that output 3. If you plan on using it with a power amp, you want to make sure that is fully clockwise. So whenever you load the FM9, it's always going to be in this scene kind of screen right here. But if you want to access any of the performance pages, you can see these tabs in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, and you can access them using the page left and right buttons. So for example, if you want to go to the performance page that I've built into this preset, you can see that you just need to hit page right once. So again, from the screen, you hit page right once, and then it's going to be in the screen. And the cool thing is this screen remains active no matter what you do with any of the sounds. Now, the top row of this preset is going to be the controls for the amp block. So as you can see, it says amp 1, bass, mid, treble, input drive, and level. And of course, that is going to adjust all those parameters in the amp block. And again, you have to make sure which amp you have selected. In this case, I have the clean channel selected. But of course, if you want to make adjustments with the dirty channel, switch to the dirty channel, and you can see that you can make the adjustments up here. And to make the adjustments, all you need to use is the A, B, C, and D, and E knobs right below the screen, and you can just turn them clockwise or counterclockwise to make adjustments on the fly in the middle of a gig. So you can see that at sound check or in the middle of a gig, you don't need to worry about having a computer. You can make adjustments on the fly and just turn your levels up and down. You can turn the gains and drives up and down. And again, just note that you can see that when I'm on the dirty channel, the drive is about noon right there, but on the clean channel, the drive is about, I guess, a little less than, 9 o'clock? So again, you can make adjustments on the fly with the performance pages. Now, to access the next row, all you have to do is hit this nav button down here, and then you can see it says clean boost level, clean boost gain, and then overdrive level, and overdrive gain, and overdrive tone. And again, you can adjust the parameters of the clean boost and the overdrive just by using the A, B, C, D, and E knob, and you can turn them clockwise or counterclockwise at will. So you can adjust the level of the boost, the overdrive as well. So a lot of versatility, a lot of you can adjust this preset on the fly in the middle of a gig. You don't need to worry about bringing a computer or a laptop to a sound check or anything like that. And of course, if you're happy with whatever adjustments you made, all you want to do is hit store, enter, enter, and then it'll commit those settings to the preset, and then you don't have to do anything. Now, if you want to return back to this screen, you can just hit page left, and it returns back to this. And this allows you to go up and down through all the presets that you have in your unit, either using the nav buttons or using the big value wheel. So for example, if you're using multiple presets in the middle of a gig or something, you can, of course, go from this page, which is the performance page, back to home, and then go up and down through the presets using the value wheel. For this particular preset, again, I just wanted to have an all-in-one, all-encompassing preset that's going to cover a wide variety of sounds for most users. You can, of course, make any adjustments you wish. So at this point, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you bought any presets in the past, or you've hired me to program any of your Fractal units, I really want to show my appreciation. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. So again, if you want to buy this preset, it's in this Gumroad link in the description below. You can buy the preset, support the channel, etc. And of course, you can also click the link and book a one-on-one session with me if you need any help programming any of your Fractal units. You can always contact me directly and book a session with me. So other than that, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
I'm falling with you, I'm standing with you, God.